friends, welcome back to another video. If you're new, I'm Emily, otherwise known as Shamanism. You can call me anything, just don't call me late for dinner. It's a pleasure to have you here. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. Hi again. Today's video is going to be a bit difficult for me because it involves me being very, very, very transparent about something that I am, first of all, presently dealing with. And secondly, which is for me, honestly, embarrassing to talk about. And still, the only reason that I am recording this is I do believe that this could potentially help someone out there potentially going through this or something like this. And so here we are. So I'm not going to beat around the bush and we're just going to hop right into the video. Do remember to subscribe. This isn't necessarily a typical type of video of the channel. However, subscribe if you do enjoy me or my energy or you find this video to be helpful. So what I want to talk about in this video is something which you guys have heard me touch on a little bit. You guys have heard me talk about it maybe a little bit in the videos that I've done in the last year where I talked about my anxiety and my panic levels over the last year. The journey, this kind of goes hand in hand with my health journey, which, yes, I know I need to do the middle part. However, this felt more pressing in the moment to cover because, as I said, this is alive for me in this moment. And I won't tell the whole story of how I got here because I don't think necessarily that part will be helpful to anyone. But we'll say that the way that I got here to where I am presently, which I will explain in a minute, is really honestly doing my best to help myself to get through and to deal with the health challenges that I was and some of which I continue to face, some of which I continue to face. And the journey is basically this. I'll sum it up so that I don't go into any details and also you can understand how this kind of developed. So a funny thing about this is that people always used to joke with me when I was in my kind of later teen years that I'd be so funny if I smoked weed. And I used to look at them and think, maybe not, I don't know, whatever, I think I'd be the same. So for years and years and years and years and years, I mean, literally years and years, I didn't even try the stuff. I didn't even mess around with marijuana. And then when I got married, I genuinely don't remember the reason. I'm pretty sure it was health related. I believe it was because I had basically lost my appetite completely. I had no desire to eat almost ever. And in an effort to combat that, I had started to smoke weed because the weed made me hungry and I could eat. So then fast forward a little while, I went through some other things in my life, different experiences with people that I knew, different experiences with spirituality, and long story short, went through a heck of a lot in the last, say, 2 years. And thus we arrive here, whereby, and I will do another video on the marijuana journey, because even though I also don't want to talk about that, I know for a fact that that is something that needs to be spoken about here, because honestly, I can't say I've heard anyone talk about it except for the one friend I've confided this in, maybe two. So forgetting that entire journey, which was the one that led up to the present circumstance, which is what I want to talk about. So as of this exact moment, I'm in the process of, and this, some of you may see this as an overshare, and I also know that someone out there must be going through this or a version of this, or else I would not be here speaking about it. So that journey led me ultimately to develop really serious anxiety for one reason or another. And to now, fast forward to today, and here we are where I've become, not in a, well, honestly, now it's a full body thing, so I guess it is mental too. However, I'm physically dependent upon a certain level of an anti-anxiety drug, lorazepam, Ativan. I share that with you because 1, it's embarrassing for me. 2, because it's honest. And 3, because the journey, firstly, I never thought that the journey with weed would lead me here. And second of all, I never imagined in any circumstances, that my body would have become dependent upon something and that then I would develop like a mental fear of coming off of it. Why, you might be asking yourself? Because the problem now is, now that my body, and I want to be clear, I'm not on a staggeringly high amount of this drug, Ativan. However, it is substantial enough to have effects in my life. For example, my memory loss, something that you guys have witnessed on the channel, whether you knew it or not. There are so many times that I make cuts because I lose the plot for 5 minutes at a time. I will literally be mid-sentence speaking a thought and it will just and gone. And it's not like, oh, it'll come back to you if it's important. No, that thought is gone. So because I was having memory issues, and also I decided for myself, I had decided this a long time ago, but I was having this roller coaster effect from the Ativan because at some juncture I was like, I no longer need to be on this, or I choose not to be on this. I really don't want to be on any pharmaceuticals. And I wanted to be able to handle and address anxiety in a natural way. So I made the choice to start to come off of the Ativan. And I'm doing this with the help of my therapist, so I want to make that clear that I have a therapist who's helping me. That being set aside, I want to talk briefly about the physical effects that I'm experiencing. Because essentially what my therapist and I decided was that we were going to slowly wean me down. And it is, the hilarious part of this is it is literally the first day of me beginning this weaning down plan for myself. And here's what I noticed. So this plan, my understanding is that it's to taper me in a way that my body doesn't feel these surges of like, because that's what it feels like when the anxiety kind of will ramp up. I'll be fine, I'll think I've got it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoop, and my heart's racing and we're off to the races. So I think that her thinking is to address that to not happen, to keep the level steady so that I can slowly wean down rather than be like, woo-doo, woo-doo. So her suggestion was to take a part of this medicine in the morning and then to take the larger part in the night so I can sleep, because I struggle to sleep with all of this stuff. And what I want to share is that, so today is my first day of trying that. So I don't normally take this medicine in the morning because generally until the afternoon, and this is a strange thing for me, when it gets dark, I had become more anxious. And so when that darkness, now that it's getting into the winter season, that hibernation kind of mode again, my body is starting to get a little bit, or I've noticed that it seems to tend to get a bit more anxious again as the evening approaches. So that was a really hard road to navigate for a while, was because I live in New England and there's a long season of darkness and cold winter. And I'm somewhat seasonally affected, very much so, by the lack of sunlight. So long story long, this Ativan, I took this Ativan this morning, a piece of this, right, to try to, again, to keep the level consistent within my body. And when I tell you that already I'm like wanting to either go completely cold turkey or just not take it in the morning, oh my goodness, because I had, number one, a whole plan for myself, of a to-do list of things I actually really needed to get done partially, and some of which I wanted to get done and could have gotten done. Here's the other point. But then when I took that Ativan, suddenly my entire body felt like it was 8 o'clock at night or later, like I had just run a marathon. I became so incredibly drained and tired instantly almost that it sapped my motivation so much, and any energy battery that I might have had for the day. It's like, if you want to think of a plane taking off, it's like it's going up and then we immediately were like, nope, and right back down. So any energy that I would have had for today to really get things going, and that positive like snowball I'm always talking about, is absolutely gone. On top of it, if I have the audacity now to take a nap to address the absolutely cellular level of weight and exhaustion that I presently am feeling because of this drug, the problem is that it won't be a nap. It won't be like a 30-40 minute nap. And I don't know if I've spoken about my struggles to sleep here, but I'm someone who can only really sleep for about 5 hours a night. So if I were to fall asleep earlier in the day, I probably wouldn't sleep at all at night. So then it becomes this entire circadian rhythm issue too. So I wanted to share, I guess, the reality of how unfun, I know that's not a word, but how not fun it is to end up addicted or dependent upon a drug or any substance, to be honest. And particularly to empathize with you that if you are on this journey of wanting to come off Ativan, or you perhaps too are working with your therapist to get off of Ativan or any other kind of diazepam type drugs or anything like that, that OMG, I feel you on the like wanting to keep your vibrancy and your level of energy, and realizing and noticing perhaps how incredibly wild it is that a medication can just take your energy completely out for the day, and that how much that is related to motivation and consistency levels and all sorts of stuff like that. So I wanted to share, as embarrassed as I kind of am to share the truth of this matter, I wanted to share this journey as a part of the reality of it, because I only got here in order to help myself, and yet still I'm really struggling, even though getting here was a move to help myself. To come off of the help is also really difficult. So if you do know anyone who this would benefit to hear, please do share this with them so that they can get this message. Subscribe, because that helps me to get these messages out there to those folks who do indeed need to hear them. And last but not least, if you, my beautiful spirit soul, would like any support or health coaching, please don't hesitate to reach out at this email address, where it would be my pleasure to serve you in any way that I can. And don't forget too that $10 yes or no intuitive readings are also available right now. So have a beautiful and a blessed rest of your day or night whenever you're seeing this. And I will see you, beautiful cats, in the next one. Namaste, much love, and always stay healthy. Bye. Maybe not. I don't know, whatever. I think I'd be the same. But like, because that's what it feels like when the anxiety kind of will ramp up. Like, I'll be fine, I'll think I've got it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoop, and my heart's racing and we're off to the races. I believe it was because I had basically lost my appetite completely. I will literally be mid-sentence speaking a thought and it will just and gone. And it's not like, oh, it'll come back to you if it's important. No, that thought is gone. It's going up, and then we immediately were like, nope, and right back down. Oh my goodness. Rather than be like, woo-doo, woo-doo.